Welcome back to this video. So we covered till question number 25. Now in question number 36, they talk about two elements, indium and antimony. Now we know that group 1 to 3 are primarily of metals, whereas group 4 are of the alloys and group 5 to 8 represent the non-metals. Now, the more the element belongs to group 1 or is near to close 1, the more metallic nature it is. So in you can safely say that indium has more metallic character than antimony. And why? Because in indium only has to lose 3 electrons since it has only 3 outer electrons, whereas antimony is in group 5, so it has a valency of 5 outer electrons in its outer shell. Now, the correct option will be C because indium has 3 outer electrons, whereas antimony has 5 outer electrons, and antimony is a non-metal, whereas indium is a metal. Now, in question number 27, we need to know that as far as which element is a solid non-metal. The A is group 3, B lies in group C. So our two main elements will be group C and D, will be C and D. They both lie in group 7. Now, the general trend in group 7 elements is that as you go down the periodic table, the melting and boiling point increases, and so the basically the physical or chemical state of the element changes from a gas to a liquid to a solid. For example, fluorine is extremely reactive and it exists only in the form of a gas, whereas bromine only exists in the form of a liquid. Fluorine lies over here, it's on the top uppermost part, whereas bromine is a reddish brown liquid. And now the at the bottom is the iodine and other elements. So they are present in the solid form. By the way, iodine's color is purple. Now, the only in question number 28, the only type of elements which show multiple valencies or multiple oxidation states are catalysts, and catalysts belong primarily to the group of transition elements. So the transition elements are lie between group 2 and group 3, and to be precise, these are also known as the basically S and P block elements. Now, in question number 29, an alloy, they talk about an alloy, which statement of it is correct. Yeah, it contains of C of electrons. It is compound of a metal and a non-metal. Yeah, this is correct because it has elements of two different sizes. That's why alloys are like alloys are malleable and like are malleable and ductile. They aren't malleable and ductile, unlike metals. Now, in question number 30, we need to know that what is an oxidizing agent and what is a reducing agent. An oxidizing agent is an element which helps to oxidize other things, whereas the reducing agent is an element which helps to reduce other things. Therefore, the oxidizing agent helps to oxidize other things and it gets reduced. For example, the everyday example is that if you donate someone money, you will be helping or contributing to him to help him gain money. But on the other hand, the money which will be lost by you, so you will lose money, whereas the other person will gain money. So in this example, the copper is now another thing is that the both the oxidizing and the reducing agent always come from the reactants, they don't come from the products. So the correct option here is that you can see that carbon is being oxidized. It's gaining, doesn't have any oxygen over here, but it's gaining an oxygen over here. So carbon is reducing it because it's getting oxidized itself. Now in question number 31, they've shown a basic experiment of electrolysis. We know the anode is the positive electrode, the cathode is the negative one, molten electrolyte. The molten electrolyte does only contains the ions of the electrolyte. It doesn't contain any water. The correct option will be C because the pure metal is always produced at the cathode or is always discharged at the cathode. Now, on question number 32, carbon. Yeah, so this is just general knowledge, and after reading about the process, you will know that calcium carbonate is the thing used to remove acidic impurities. Now, why is it used? Because calcium carbonate is a base and it will help to neutralize the acidic impurities which are present in the blast furnace. So now in question number 33, we know that aluminum is resistant to corrosion and it has a relatively low density, though does corrode. So however, the main thing is that why is it used in aircrafts? Because it has low density, which helps the aircrafts to fly easily. Now in question number 34, non-acidic gases are those which are basically metals. So the out of the yeah, so carbon dioxide and ammonia. We all know that ammonia is a base and methane is a greenhouse gas. It also contributes. However, so the correct option will be now in question number 5. We know what is desalination. Desalination is the process whereby water, which is uh, water is treated from the seawater, and in order to make it fit for consumption of normal human beings, salt is removed. So salt is sodium chloride, NaCl. Now on question number 36, they've talked about organic chemistry. You need to know that the formula to calculate the number of carbon or number of hydrogen atoms in alkanes is CnH2n plus 2, which means that the number of hydrogen atoms in a compound will be twice more than the number of carbon atoms, and will they add 2 to it. So by this formula, the formula for butane should be C4, and H will be 4 times 2 is 8 plus 2, 10. C4H10. Now, what is an isomer? Isomer is a substance which has the same molecular formula, however, different structure formula. So if you can closely look at each of these options have 4 carbon atoms, and a brand are around about 10 hydrogen atoms. But the key to answering this question is that they've asked about the branch chain isomer. So it doesn't matter if you which end you start reading the carbon atom, you label this one or this one makes the same thing like 1 2 3 or 1 2 3. But the key thing is that the carbon atom, which is the branch chain, should be attached to the second carbon. If you see in this example, you can't say that it is the second carbon. If you take this, the branch is attached on one, and if you take this carbon as one, so the other carbon atom is attached at one position as well. Now, similar is the case at in here, that the other carbon atom is attached at one position, and even in here, this carbon atom is attached at number one position. This is the only option which the other carbon atom is attached at the most central position. Now, question number 37. An addition reaction is only carried out by alkenes. The alkenes organic compound chemical formula is CnH2, which simply means that the number of hydrogen atoms will be always double the amount of carbon atoms. So you can see in this example C4 and H8. Now, for what happens is that bromine is added across the double bond. There's a double bond between two carbon atoms. So the bromine is always attached between the carbon atoms. So the bromine will be attached on the adjacent carbons. So you can rule out the options in which bromine is attached far apart, for example A or C or D. And similarly, because it's Br2, so there will be two atoms of bromine, so you can simply rule out D. The correct option will be B, but in order for me to explain it fully to you, I will have to draw the whole structure. I hope you draw it out on your own. Now in question number 39, which alcohol is oxidized? Oxidized means in the presence of oxygen, it forms oxalic acid, or the other name for it is ethanoic acid. Now, this linkage of carbon double bond over OH, this is the functional group of acids. Similarly, this is the functional group. What is a functional group? Functional group is a main like an ID card or identity mark by which we can classify the chemical compound. Similarly, alkenes have a double bond between carbon and carbon. That is the functional group of alkenes. And all alkenes have only carbon-carbon single bond. So all of these are now this is an alcohol. All of these are alcohols. However, if which alcohol they've asked which alcohol is oxidized to form oxalic acid. So now the formula for alcohol is CnH2n plus 1 OH. So obviously, the chemical formula for oxalic acid would be carbon 2, and hydrogen atom would be Ca2H5OH. So there will be a total of 6 hydrogen atoms, um, and 2 carbon atoms and 1 oxygen atoms. By simply by simply just calculating all the formula I told you, you'll be able to calculate know which of the options is correct. Now in question number 39. What is J? Now, J is obviously an asset. Why? Because it It reacts with alcohol to produce an ester, and the characteristic of esters is that esters produce a sweet smelling liquid or perfume. Similarly, esters react with the base to form a salt and water, and esters react with carbon, a salt of carbonate to produce CO2 and water. On the last question for today is about nylon. What nylon is used in everyday fabric, and its functional group is carbon double bond on NH, and this is also known as the amide linkage. Now, in you need to note that this is a condensation reaction in which there is water being released out as well, and this takes place between a carbon carboxyl group. This is known as a carboxyl group, and this is known as amide group. So for example, their OH is always lost from the carboxyl group, and hydrogen is always lost from the amide group, or in the case of alcohols from the hydrogen for the OH group. You need so I hope it's clear that the OH group is always lost from the carboxyl group. Now the key to answering this is that you'll just be draw out all these structures, and the bracket means that the bracket is attached as a branch over here, and six of these, for example 6 2 whole bracket 6 means that six of these CH2 are attached over here in a branch chain, and likewise for CH2 whole bracket 4. So you'll have to draw out all these structures and remove the OH group, and you'll see which of the options correctly matches with the above. Thank you. I hope you like the video.